I saw a video called The 7 Levels of Pop Girl, and I decided that we need the drag version. We talk about getting on Drag Race like it's a one-way ticket to drag stardom. I mean, even I dream about being on Drag Race, but the truth is it's never been that simple. Getting on Drag Race is seen as the ultimate dream for a drag queen, but what happens when you reach the mountaintop? Who are you as a drag queen if Drag Race doesn't exist? Does your career have aspirations outside of that? True legacies are built after getting on Drag Race. You don't just get on Drag Race and become Trixie Mattel overnight. It's a ladder you have to climb rung by hard work, branding, and maybe a little bit of luck. To further explore this paradigm, we have to explore drag fame before Drag Race and before even RuPaul. Historically, drag has functioned as both self-expression and performance, often at the same time, with its bold, attention-grabbing nature being a powerful vehicle for resistance and visibility.
And, remember what this is. At its core, drag is an art form that allowed us to see ourselves and love ourselves. With everything going on in the world, we forgot that that is what drag is supposed to be. A lot of these new kids, they're growing up and their dream is, I want to go be on Drag Race. Drag is supposed to be about speaking truth to power. Drag is not supposed to be about, I want to make my dream come true so I can get casted on a television show and I just want to be on a television show.
Yeah.
No, a drag queen, your purpose is to be a leader, to speak truth to power, to inspire hope to your community.
Early figures like William Dorsey Swann, who coined the term drag queen, used drag to organize underground balls as an act of Black queer resistance, while Marsha P. Johnson, who also identified as a drag queen, became a pivotal figure in activism.
Marsha P. Johnson.
Number 10. Dead last. But let me tell you why. Because, let me tell you something about Marsha. This is before the beauty industry and before all the things. So I will read her because she needed a little bit more blush, Martha. She did. Can we all be in agreement? Martha needed a little bit more blush. And
other figures like Crystal LaBeija came to prominence in drag by rejecting the traditional pageant scene and forming what became what we know as the modern day ballroom house culture. And performers like Divine gained recognition through queer film. Across activism, pageantry, ballroom, and film, these figures all rose to prominence and built cultural influence through drag. But that recognition largely remained in queer and underground spaces, never truly translating to mainstream fame. Although drag had largely been visible to the public in contexts like Shakespearean theater, it had never truly been taken seriously as an art form, largely reduced down to comedy. That dynamic shifted with RuPaul, who after starting in the underground scene, leveraged sharp branding and mainstream appeal with her hit single Supermodel, and went on to become the first truly mainstream drag superstar, ultimately creating RuPaul's Drag Race, creating a space for queens just like her to step into the global spotlight. But even RuPaul had to start somewhere, which brings us to level 1. By the way, I'm Conspira Lucy, aka Luke here, and welcome back to another episode of Conspiracies. I think when we're talking about stardom, it requires a level of relevance that can be quantified. Popularity is not an endorsement of quality. You can enjoy an underground queen. Some of you who are subscribed to my channel might be doing that actively right now. Or you could be enjoying one of the biggest queens in the business. But everyone has to start somewhere. I call level 1 the local girl. The local girl is going through the gigs. Whether you're a bedroom queen online or performing at your local bar, achieving local girl status is about defining your brand and being known in your scene or online forum. You could argue that just by starting drag in your local area, that could make you a local girl. But to achieve true local girl status, you have to set yourself apart in some way and reach a minimum level of notoriety. Some queens that exist on this level, and please don't get offended if you hear your name on this list, because I actually want to highlight some true great local drag here in the Midwest where I'm at. Some queens that exist on this level are Minty Varieties, Chloe Curiosity, Kelly Diamonds, Mira Mangle, and Visa Decline. These queens are constantly working, and I wouldn't be surprised to see many of these queens land on Drag Race in the coming years. It's important to know that this scale isn't linear, and your position isn't static. Queens can move up and down the scale with some exceptions. Popularity is what makes the world go round. If your business has enough word of mouth, it starts to make a bunch of money. If a pop star makes it big, they start selling records and touring. If a drag queen makes it big, she has a whole world of opportunities that open up for her. Drag is so multifaceted, but I think with drag, those multiple avenues can start to paralyze some queens. Should I be doing music? Should I start a YouTube channel? Should I be touring? Do I go back on All Stars? A lot of times, not being able to choose an avenue is due to a lack of brand. You're not sure where your brand fits or what choices with your career will fall in line with your brand because you don't truly know what your brand is. Other times, it's just a queen who's content with her 15 minutes of fame and isn't really ambitious for anything more. These are the queens that land themselves in level 2, the pork chop asylum. Contrary to the name, no, this is not just pork chops who appear on RuPaul's Drag Race, but it's queens who truly embody pork chop-ism. Queens whose brands didn't leave an impression, or queens who for one reason or another can't reach a level of notoriety past a base level, oftentimes in the past tense. Queens who make up this list include Aiden Zane, Elliot with 2 T's, Orion Story, Robin Fierce, and Acacia Forgot. In a way, it's almost more beneficial to be in level 1. When you're in level 1, the whole world is your oyster and you can move up to anywhere. When you find yourself in level 2, in a way you're almost stuck there. It's very hard to get out of level 2 because you're at this point because people have already forgotten you. Most people who find themselves in level 2 have fallen down from level 3, 4, or 5. Because at least for level 1, there's room to grow. At level 2, there's not really much more room for you to grow. These queens who land here don't really have a defined brand or are just comfortable with the level of fame they've received and don't have much ambition past having a single appearance on a reality show. They are content residing in the asylum. Someone like Acacia Forgot is a great example of being at this level. I mean, even her name kinda says it all. She's basically telling you that she's forgettable in her name. And I think something that really exemplifies this is she just recently released a clip of her with Trisha Paytas that she had filmed all the way last year. Had she posted that last year, it had the potential to go super viral. I mean, Trisha Paytas is a big star, and this was a huge opportunity. But she sat on that footage for over a year just because, I don't know, maybe she didn't get the footage back. I'm not quite sure what the reason is, but it stands to show that a lot of these queens' branding decisions and decisions for their career are what lead to them being forgotten about. Again, not everyone is trying to make it big in the industry or on social media, but to have something like that footage locked and ready to go and not post it for over a year is really baffling to me. And it's exactly why she's fallen down to here from level 3, the Ru Girl. When you land yourself on RuPaul's Drag Race, you are instantly catapulted up to level 3. This is a level of exposure that many can't land on their own. And during the time your season airs, you are one of the most famous drag queens in the world. But this fame is temporary. And in order to maintain it and keep Ru Girl status, you gotta hustle. You have to maintain a social media presence. You have to maintain a touring schedule. You have to attend DragCon if it happens. And if you're lucky, you might get featured on a WoW Presents show. Queens who live in this category are Kimora Black, Cameron Michaels, Jan, Deja Sky, and controversially, Anitra. I think some of you might be surprised to see Anitra here because if this was 3 years ago, she would have been somewhere all the way in level 5. But Anitra has placed herself here all by herself. She's almost completely disappeared from social media since her season and has canceled a lot of gigs in the past couple of years. In a similar vein to Cameron Michaels, I think both of them have struggled to keep up with the demand that the drag industry commands from you. That being said, the Ru Girl is not a negative place to be. Now, it should be said that I won't be able to go through every single queen that's ever been on Drag Race, but it's safe to say that most of them reside in either level 2 or here in level 3. Queens in level 3 are still relevant and still find themselves in the Drag Race conversation. The Ru Girl level is, funny enough, not just limited to Ru Girls. 2 queens from Dragula, ironically, that find themselves in this category are actually Meatball and Sigourney Weaver. Both of them find themselves here because they've managed to keep themselves relevant and make names for themselves with their podcast and YouTube shows. The queens that find themselves here in level 3 exist in the current conversation, but are constantly vying for our attention. The queens that live in level 4 don't have this problem. Level 4A, the cult classic queen. Queens who make it into this category are iconic. They will always have consistent work and will always be referenced. But once you land in this spot, you're not really ever moving up or down a level. This is another theoretical prison spot. You're iconic, maybe a meme even. The work you've done is recognized, but you're often remembered for your past rather than what you're doing right now. Queens who live in the category 4A are Latrice Royale, Detox, Laganja Estranja, Jasmine Masters, and Mo Hart. All of these queens are iconic, and they will always be relevant, but I find that we're constantly looking back at their past rather than any impact that they're making right now. A queen who's quickly finding herself landing in level 4A is controversially Anya Nerve. Anya Nerve slayed her season and by far had the best and most memorable competition performance. But that's exactly it. We remember her for her performance on the show. But over a year later, other than a music video and dropping out of multiple tours, can you really remember anything else she's done? Anya Nerve is very quickly being remembered in the past tense, rather than what she's doing right now. That being said, level 4 is still a great spot to be at, but it's not standard for such a recent winner like herself. A lot of older drag legends also land themselves on this level, but in a different category, which brings us to level 4B, Legendary Mothers. We have to understand that before Drag Race, it was so hard to become relevant at all as a drag queen, and so to make it all the way to 4B is a really impressive feat. These are the queens who became icons without the Drag Race machine backing them. These queens include William Dorsey Swan, Marsha P. Johnson, Divine, Crystal Abeja, Hot Chocolate, Lady Bunny, Jackie Beat, Peaches Christ, Heclina, Sherry Vine, and even the Boulay brothers. Where level 4 queens are remembered for their past, level 5 queens are remembered for their present. They're at the top of everyone's mind. Level 5, the It Girls. These are the queens who at the moment have the most social cachet. They are hugely visible and widely considered the biggest names in the drag scene. These are the queens who either go viral on social media after their season, create media empires, or place as finalists on their season, and are consistently on the biggest tours. Staying at this level is difficult and exhausting. It requires a constant presence online and visibility, whether by posting or touring. Many queens land themselves here for a moment, but quickly fall down after not being able to meet the level of grind that this level requires. Queens like Anitra and Eureka lived here for a time, but weren't able to maintain this level of relevance. Queens who currently make up this category are Naomi Smalls, Mistress Isabel Brooks, Plain Jane, Corey King, Lydia B. Collins, Susie 2. Queens like Mistress Isabel Brooks and Plain Jane made it all the way to the finale and were able to use this exposure to create media empires on both X and YouTube, where they post and get engagement for their controversial takes and funny takes on their fellow Drag Race sisters. Someone like Corey King is a more impressive case, placing 8th place on her season, but is a great example of someone using the exposure from the show to boost her career and define her brand. She very quickly started making cameos as she got on the show, and this quickly became a series where she started dressing up as many different queens and celebrities. And this series truly engaged fans and brought her to mainstream stardom. She's constantly posting on YouTube and touring, and she truly is a workhorse queen. She's the one person at this level who I can truly see rising above to level 6. It's important to note that this list doesn't just include Rue Girls, and it doesn't just include queens who have been on TV. Someone like Luscious Massacre was an Emmy award-winning makeup artist from the series We're Here. She had struggled to maintain relevance and was constantly posting on YouTube, but wasn't having the success that she knew she deserved. There were times where she felt like giving up, but she knew that she had that it factor, and she knew that she had to keep going. She then started her Dragvestigation series on YouTube and has now become one of the most relevant and popular and, in my opinion, one of the most hilarious drag queens on the scene right now. She's on everybody's podcast and she's on everybody's lips. She has the most iconic catchphrases, and she truly is one of my favorite drag queens to ever exist, to be honest. I mean, truly is an icon. One of our most recent escapees from the Pork Chop Asylum is actually Kelly Mantle. Kelly Mantle is a queen who had always said she would never go back on All Stars, and for a lot of queens, reacquiring relevance without appearing on All Stars is a very hard feat. And I think one of the things that helped her jump up in relevance was her appearance on Trixie and Katya's tour. She used that jump in relevance to then start her podcast, where she interviews many Drag Race queens, and she has this air about her that makes people feel calm and makes people feel comfortable telling her things. This comfortability often gets them to spill the tea. She often gets the big scoop on her podcast, and drama ensues. She was one of the first people to break the Ginger Minge drama that really ended the world back last summer. And lastly, another pork chop asylum escapee that's made her way all the way up to level 5 is Delta Work. Funny enough, just like Luscious Massacre, Delta is also an Emmy Award winner. She's an Emmy Award winner for her work on hair on RuPaul's Drag Race. And there was a less than amicable split between her and the RuPaul's Drag Race staff. She had a podcast with Raja for a while, and Raja stepped away from that podcast, and I think she found herself pivoting and she decided, I can do this podcast all by myself. And she did that, and her podcast has just gone viral. And all of the clips that go viral are just her by herself. And that's a testament to how entertaining Delta Work is. Her over-the-top and over-dramatic talk about the mundane is often what goes viral. She can make the mundane be the most hilarious thing in the world. All the queens who find themselves at this level are hustling, hoping they can make their way up to level 6, the drag superstar. These queens are unavoidable and truly shift culture. I think once you land yourself at this level, you'll never fall below this threshold. You've proven you have staying power, and you'll continue to influence and grow along with queer culture. Queens in this list include Bob the Drag Queen, Monet Exchange, Jinx Monsoon, Trixie Mattel, Katya, Bianca Del Rio, Alaska, and Jujubee. These queens have brands that have truly separated themselves from RuPaul's Drag Race. Whether appearing on huge reality shows like The Traitors, selling out their own solo stand-up tours, appearing in various web series, having their own makeup line, producing their own drag musical, appearing on Broadway, or starring in feature films, they constantly stay booked. I struggled with where to place Trixie Mattel, considering she is by far the most famous queen to ever come out of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I think you'll start to understand once we get to level 7 why she's here in level 6 instead. A non-Ru girl that exists on this level is actually Pablo Vittar. Pablo Vittar is a huge name in South America, and she's truly a household name there. She makes music that the people truly go crazy for down there. And she even has more followers than RuPaul on Instagram. These queens are always relevant and truly make it look effortless. But, curiously enough, none of these queens make it to level 7. So who does make it to level 7? Level 7, the global phenomenon. This is beyond Drag Race and beyond queer culture. If you find yourself at level 7, you are truly a mainstream household name worldwide. They're A-listers in their field. And you'll be surprised at how small this level truly is. I truly had to think about which drag queens are truly household names, and I could only ever come up with one, and that is RuPaul. To this day, RuPaul is still the only A-list drag queen to exist in the world. One could argue that Pablo Vittar is a household name in South America, but I don't think that influence has gone worldwide in the same way that RuPaul has. RuPaul and his show, RuPaul's Drag Race, has truly become a global phenomenon, extending multiple franchises across multiple countries. There truly has still never been anyone like RuPaul. If I had to guess, I'd say that maybe Trixie Mattel is the queen who could maybe break into this category at some point. So I'd be interested on what Trixie Mattel could do in her career to make her break into this level 7. I mean, to become a true household name requires a lot. RuPaul has appeared in many mainstream movies, has had actual hit singles on the radio that were played everywhere. No other queen has ever done that. Even the most popular Drag Race queen like Trixie Mattel has never had these feats that RuPaul has had. I'm not sure that we'll ever have another drag queen like RuPaul, but I love to watch everyone try. So that does it for this video. I hope that nobody was too offended by anything that I said on this video. I truly just thought it would be such a fun exercise to go through all the queens and to really create these levels of what I think drag stardom looks like. If any of you are drag queens, you know how hard drag truly is. Drag will take your money, drag will take your time, drag will sometimes take away your will to live, to be quite honest. But I think no matter where you find yourself on this list, or even somebody like me who hasn't even made their way onto the list yet, I think drag is a space for everyone. Anybody can do drag, and that's what makes it so fun and such a great art form. Drag is a fight, drag is an art, drag is fun, and I truly think we need drag in the world now more than ever. With everything going on in the world, drag is truly what makes me keep going. It really does. And I hope if you guys take anything from this video, it's that you should never give up. Whether you're in the pork chop asylum, whether you're the it girl, whether you're not even on level 1 yet, I hope that you keep going. Because I think almost every queen that lands themselves on this list is still hustling and still going on. And that's what I aspire to do as well. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. And actually, I think there's a new feature called Hype. So if any of you know what that does, y'all can maybe try that. I click the button sometimes, and I don't know what it means, but couldn't hurt. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you disagree with my takes, and if you think there's another level that maybe I didn't include. Anyways, all right, you guys. Bye.